Hello everybody. Today we are going to be looking at a scenario where China forms an empire. For this video, China is going to be buffed so that way they have a better chance at defeating their enemies, not like they're going to need it. China is the third strongest country in the world, arguably second strongest country in the world, and we're going to see what happens if they form an empire in 2025. For this video, China is going to be colored in red. Anything in red, China owns. And the first thing the Chinese empire is going to go after is Taiwan. Chinese troops, Chinese Navy and troops go in from the north, start blitzing down the east coast of Taiwan. They make a landing towards the west, blitz up, cutting the country in half. And soon the southern part surrenders to China. Another naval landing is made in the upper western part, and soon Taiwan falls. In this peace treaty, Taiwan is fully overtaken by China, and I do have to say there will be no NATO in this. This just wouldn't be possible if NATO did exist. It did exist, but we do have China declaring war on Mongolia. Mongolia used to be a part of China during the Qing dynasty, and Mongolia, there's actually a province inside of China called Inner Mongolia that Mongolia wants pretty bad. But China is going to invade into this little tip of Mongolia, taking it all over in a couple days. They're going to invade down through the south as well. In the weeks after that, China makes an invasion into Mongolia through the west. Then we have a third party happening, Russia. Russian troops start invading into Mongolia, and once Russia joins, it's almost over for Mongolia. There's not much they can do against two giant superpowers of countries crashing down on them at the same time. After another month, it's gonna look like this with Russian troops pouring in, as well as Chinese troops. They're gonna meet in the middle and agree to just split the land from where it is. So China gets this part, Russia gets the rest of this, and then it's just like, kind of like this, with Russia getting that and China getting this. This is what the peace treaty is going to look like, with Russia getting the northern part of Mongolia. Not as much as they wanted, but they are going to take it because it's land. Then we have China getting the most of it because they did most of the work. So here's China. Kind of looks like the Qing dynasty, but don't worry about that, because all China cares about is war. North Korea, South Korea. Now, North Korea and South Korea can never be on the same team, so while they're being invaded from China, they're also probably fighting each other, and that is just not good if you're fighting against China. Since these two cannot work together, China's Navy manages to get around and land in South Korea. And they start blitzing up, while also going down the North Korean sea coast. Then we have an ally joining. Japan. Japan joins the war against China to protect South Korea mainly. They don't really care about North Korea. They just want to protect South Korea. China is a little shocked by this, but South Korea is able to push back the Chinese a little bit. North Korea, though, they're not really sending any help to North Korea, so it's kind of just falling. Their capital is taken, and then North Korea just, yeah. Now that the Chinese are up here, there's not really many South Korean troops positioned up here, so they're able to make a little invasion until Japanese troops get there and they're able to make a pushback. Now, South Korea is very scared right now, and China is able to pull off a pretty big offensive. Now, with Japan focusing on South Korea a lot, they're not going to see that China's actually going to make a naval landing in this bottom island, and actually they're going to take it all. So, uh-oh to them, because Japan just pulled some of their troops back, and South Korea is kind of just being pushed around right now. This whole sea's taken. They pretty much just lost access with Japan, and it's just up to them now to hold out. But in Japan, a little bit better is happening. They push back the Chinese a little bit, but they do make another naval landing over here and up here. So, I don't know if that's good or bad. South Korea finally falls to the Chinese Empire. Now they could focus all their resources on Japan. They make a naval landing towards this top island, one towards the south, and just push up, connect up, and this island is just kind of screwed. They retake this island, and they take over this island, and they expand this offensive right here, capturing a bunch of Japanese troops in the making. This little offensive goes into mainland Japan, and Japan is trying to get a peace treaty, but China's like, no, you caused this war, you didn't have to get involved, so we're going to take all your land. Tokyo is taken, and after that, Japan kind of just falls. So here's what the peace treaty is looking like. We have China annexing both Koreas into their empire. We also have China taking over some of the islands of Japan, and they turn the regular Japanese island into a vassal. So the Chinese empire is getting pretty big, but they want to expand more. And there are a couple more people who they want to invade. Boom, boom, go down here. Boom, 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 boom. And maybe a little boom. China declares war on all these nations so that way they can get some easy land because these aren't that strong. Strongest over here is maybe either Thailand or Vietnam. Vietnam's pretty strong, but since they just took on these people, it's not going to be as hard to defeat these people as it was to defeat them. Well, these people are kind of Tajikistan and whatever they are. They're kind of screwed. They're not that strong. They don't really like each other. I don't think they can ever really be united again, but they both fall relatively quickly to China, at least within a couple days. Bhutan has no military. I don't really know why China would invade them. Land. Here's the fun part, all of Southeast Asia. They make an invasion into Myanmar, or Brunei, if you want to call it like that. Vietnam is going to hold out, but Laos. Laos is going to kind of get invaded into. Naval landing made in Laos and southern Vietnam. This panhandle of Thailand is taken, and they start going up the coast of Myanmar and Thailand. Big naval landing is made in like southern Myanmar. I don't know what their capital is, so let's just say that their capital is taken, and soon Myanmar falls. New front line open up for China as they invade into Thailand, taking a lot of it, and then their coast is taken from a naval invasion. Now, since China's doing really good here, they decide to declare war on the Philippines. So they do that. Let me just color them all in. And yeah, the Philippines joined the war. Vietnam is finally gonna kind of collapse over to China. This front was like one of the bloodiest one of the bloodiest wars China has ever fought to get into a country. But Vietnam just can't hold out anymore. Cambodia is taken. These countries fall, and then Vietnam surrenders. Philippines just realizes the pickle they got themselves in, and this top island is taken. And do I even have to show this? No, I don't, but I am. Southern taken. They're peeing in the sea. And yeah, they won that war in like a couple years. And this is now what China looks like. This is big. Took over all of the Philippines, like almost all of Southeast Asia. They left Vietnam, which I don't know if this is even livable in. Thailand, their panhandle, saved their life. Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan, they're kind of just gone. And this is the Chinese Empire, but there's one more country they have to go after before the video's over. And that country is Russia. And maybe India. And Bangladesh and Nepal. Now, China cannot win this war by themselves, which is why they're going to call an ally Pakistan and Indonesia. Now, I don't know if Indonesia would join this war, but we're going to say they do. And Oceania is going to get declared war on. So that way, Indonesia has a reason to join this war. And Malaysia. So that way, yeah. Now, I don't know how even this is going to be. We have number 2 strongest country, number 3, and these guys against number 3, 12, and like 13 maybe. Now, if we're gonna do this, I'm gonna say Finland is also gonna join the war, as well as Ukraine and Georgia. But we have this area up here being taken over fairly quickly. It probably wouldn't be taken over that fast in real life, but this is fake life, and I choose what happens in fake life. India does manage to make a couple invasions into Pakistan, but it's not going good for them right now. Nepal gets vaporized, as well as Bangladesh. And also, this area of China falls fairly quickly. I mean, not China, India. I mean, I don't think it'd fall very quickly, because India is such a strong country. But China is buffed, and I say so. India, yeah. Now, Malaysia is also kind of cooked. This area gets taken out quickly by the Chinese forces, and this area also gets wiped out fairly quickly. Along with this area, they're going to make an invasion into Papua New Guinea, but Australian forces arrive. Australia's not going to join the war, but they're going to send some help towards Papua New Guinea. And here it is, the big invasion of Russia. Russia is heartbroken from this. They thought China was their ally, but China said no. They make a landing up in Siberia. Theoretically, America would probably get in on this war if it were to happen, but that's not going to happen this time. There's not much, Russia's probably going to have to wait until the winter comes to even stop the Chinese, but they pee in this lake, so that way the Russians can't use it anymore. And they take over a lot of land very quickly. These same things happen inside of Finland. They take over this area of Russia. I do not remember the name of it. Fairly quickly, they pee in this lake, and they zip around and take over all this. Now, since Russia is kind of just like chilling, they're going to invade. Well, they're not chilling. Scratch that. Since Russia has to focus their military on so many different fronts, I don't think they'd be able to really hold back against anyone. Maybe against these areas, but I'm gonna say they can't hold back against them only because China is scary and it's not gonna work this time. Now, China is gonna make a big offensive cutting off Russia from this Siberian part and taking it all over. And that is when Russia's gonna be like, okay, I surrender. You just don't hurt me anymore. India is gonna be a little bit more hesitant, but they're also gonna surrender. And Papua New Guinea is gone. And this is going to be the height of the Chinese Empire. They reach up into parts of Siberia, connecting up with the Arctic, span down into Southeast Asia. They have parts of India, Bangladesh, Nepal, Pakistan grew, but they did lose a little bit of land down here. Finland, gigantic. Ukraine expanded down over here quite a bit. Georgia got quite a bit of land. Chechnya is back. Indonesia now has all of Malaysia and Papua New Guinea. They have all of Japan, Taiwan, Philippines. So yeah, this is a big empire. But if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. I will see you again in another time. Goodbye.